going, guys? Welcome back to the Q&A. Today we're joined with Mod Matt K.
Yo.
Mod Rock.
Hello.
Mod Kieran.
Hello.
Mod Ash.
Hello.
And myself, Mod Archie. So we've got some pretty exciting stuff.
Do you want to tell them what happened just before?
Yeah.
The panic we've just had. Sitting here with about 5 minutes to go, the fire alarm goes off. So we all get outside. And obviously there's a fire because we're here. We all get back in again. And,
We've got an excuse this time.
Yeah, the only good excuse we have. So we all legged it back in and quickly it's like, oh no, need batteries for the mic. And
sorry, we thought the building was on fire. Actually, I was just coming downstairs a bit later than the rest of the guys.
By legging, I walked.
So I was just
I
walking past the exit with a cup of tea at the time. I browsed straight outside and drank my tea in the car park while we waited. I'm having a nice day.
We've had like 3 fire alarms in the last month.
We did have some building works going on. It's probably disrupting the building systems a bit more than usual.
Supposedly, one of the contractors upstairs doing the building work hit one of the fire alarms with a broomstick by accident. He spun around and went straight through the glass. And
that's something you want to see on a video, isn't it?
Was he sweeping or was he dancing?
It's quite hard to do that kind of thing with a broomstick at a distance.
Sorry, Chris. Sorry.
It's all right.
Oh, we said there's some exciting stuff.
There is some exciting stuff. I'm hoping we have one of these things in the title. So we have an exclusive interview with the winner of the past Dead Man tournament. Very exciting stuff. I'm going to save that for the end. Look forward to that. Speaking of all things Dead Man changes that have recently happened today, next season, next tournament. Stay tuned for all that stuff as well. In addition to that, we have the results from the poll for the new cape as per designed by the community for the Inferno. So if we can actually throw that image up soonish, there it is right there, look at that. So Cape 2, as you can see from the poll, was the clear winner by 32%. That's by XX Reds.
Oh, awesome.
When Mod Ghost returns from holiday in a couple of weeks, we'll be looking over the result and seeing a few more of your designs in. Stay tuned for that. In addition to that, we have, you know what, we'll save the next thing actually, because that's kind of cool too.
Ooh.
But let's get into the questions. Now you're curious.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
And I've seen that shoot. And I still can't remember what it was. Shinchi says, can we improve Motherlode Mine? It's been devalued a lot with recent mining updates and discoveries, saying 3-tick mining, blast mining, gem mining, etc. So the solution he's proposing here is to make veins not deplete as frequently, make Varrock armor / mining cape perk work, add more uses for nuggets such as trading nuggets for mining experience / packs of ore.
If someone's been hoarding them nuggets or wants to hoard them nuggets, then turning ore into XP later down the line means a lot more storable XP, which causes no problems at our end, but isn't always something that people appreciate so much. On the other hand, making the veins not deplete as frequently is probably the thing that, well, it's the thing I hate most about mining. I don't know about the rest of you.
I definitely agree. I think it's something that if we were to do something like this, we could tie it in with the mining guild rework.
Yes, that's the other proposed thing with the mining guild.
Like move the mining guild into it? Or?
Yeah, well, I would think the mining guild should be either an extension of the Motherlode, an extension of the mining guild in itself to bring that whole basic place underneath Falador into one giant section.
Yeah, the geography does kind of lend itself to some kind of dark passage between the two.
Well, we've said a few times now that we want to do an expansion of the mining guild, including the +7 level thing. And
we did like that.
Maybe that there's a connection between Motherlode Mine and the mining guild with a cavern in between where we have this expansion, a deposit box, some high-level ores, +7s, rock golems that are in a similar vein to Ents.
Okay.
Kill them, and then mine them for your pick.
I thought you were just going to say stick a runite rock down, but okay.
And then I'll magically get noted ore.
I never liked the look of those rock golems, but okay.
The noted log from Ents is pretty weird. I guess, is it the magic of the end?
Magic.
Yes. Or the bark happens to have banknotes printed on it.
I think it's safe to say we can agree the Motherlode Mine and Mining Guild could use a little bit of help.
I do like the idea of tying them in together. I think that's a very, very clever thing to do.
Okay, cool. This is my first week back with the YouTube chat, and that's really nice.
I know what the lore is.
We can read that. It's not too
the power of the Dark Altar.
Oh, good.
That's how I fall back on everything.
All right, let's jump to the next question then. Yep. Kawaii says, I feel it's highly unfair to allow the Hill Giant boss to be accessible in members' worlds.
I think it should be restricted to free-to-play worlds only.
What?
That's not generally how things work.
It's not how they work, but this is being backed by a lot of people right now.
I'd imagine that the theory behind it is it's something for free-to-play, therefore free-to-play should be the ones to benefit from it. If it's available in members' worlds and the members can also benefit from it and overall devalue the items that are available from it, therefore devaluing the free-to-play players. I would imagine the argument goes something along those lines.
You mean because members can bring their members' benefits to kill it more powerful, kill it faster than free-to-play could?
Yeah, because more of the items will get into game as well, because you can kill it on members' worlds and that sort of thing, is what I'd imagine, something along those lines. But, as you said, it doesn't work that way.
Well, we can always advise the players to unsubscribe.
I mean, generally you don't want to lose features when you subscribe.
Yeah.
Of course, you get to log in a free-to-play world.
The thing is, it's a concern right now because of the new weapon, but that will fall in price quickly within a week or whatever, and then it won't be an issue because anybody who's members has access to much better money-making methods and training methods, so they won't be wasting their time on this.
That's how I see it. A member ain't going to want to kill it unless they happen to be of the sort of level that would be doing it in free-to-play.
Well, the way I saw it when we were designing and doing it was that the Hill Giant boss should effectively be a benefit for those that choose to gather limp words in free-to-play to get their bonds to go become a member, because it's one of the most common ways of getting your own bonds. So, and it seems to have worked, I think.
Cool.
Relative question in the chat there from Couldn't says, is there a limit to how many giant keys you can have?
I don't believe so.
None whatsoever. I went and looked.
Ooh.
I did see somebody mention somewhere, I don't know if it was on your bit of paper or it was on Reddit or wherever, about a rare chance of the creature dropping a membership bond.
That's mine.
Is that on your sheet?
You're taking one of my questions.
Oh, sorry. Here we go. I couldn't remember. 'Cause I thought it was an interesting question. Which is,
Spoilers.
sorry.
What do you think of that idea, though?
I think it would create. I mean, what it will do is it will create a whole load of legal issues for how bonds are delivered, where they come from. So I can't see that ever happening. There'll be a whole load of auditing stuff to worry about.
It doesn't make sense for a monster to drop something like that. It just feels not RuneScape-y.
We can make it drop the amount of GP that it directly costs for a bond. You know, like
That'd probably be the better way of doing it.
The better way is to make money-making methods which you can use to be able to afford one.
Right.
In terms of a limit, I mean, how many inventories are there? You could have 2.147 billion each of them.
And then there's odd things like Nightmare Zone and the tip jar. You can stick a lot of coins in a lot of places.
Or keys in this there.
Oh, keys, yes, keys.
I believe they're large keys as well.
Giant keys, aren't they? I thought we had to rename
Possibly,
giant keys to unlock the giant.
Moving on. Yo says, can you buff the experience in Rogue's Den minigame to mid-tier experience and not worthless? It had 50 agility requirement, but gives less XP per hour than the gnome course.
Good luck balancing that thing. Changing the numbers upwards is possible. Trying to work out what rates people are going to be able to get from it afterwards might be a few days of stopwatch.
If we moved all XP there to the end, rather than the obstacles
to get to the end.
Players do, because they've got the rogue outfit.
Well, no, people can, but
I remember, because all the way back in 2007, I was going for all the music tracks.
Yeah.
And there's a music track you unlock at the end.
Yes.
And it took me ages.
I never got to the end, but fortunately that music track is on one of the 4 map squares of the area, so you don't have to get quite to the end, you have to be on that map square somewhere. It's good travel.
I think while we were there buffing it, we'd make it a bit nicer in terms of polish and, the lack of polish currently would.
It's got the bizarrest way of tracking your success and failure. It's the way well, it turns off the stat restore timer. And when you're in there, if something goes wrong, then your thieving or your agility go down by 1 and don't tick up again. And if they hit 0, then you're out. Like, that's a fairly alien mechanic.
That's weird.
Yeah, I didn't think you'd know about that one.
I know the stat went down, but I thought they just drained you because you happened to
I think it's a punishment for failing, and the stat restore time is turned off.
Is that sign that Maz has just put up in the chat? It says, Ash, the table is not supported. Your mug may fall off.
She ain't wrong.
It's created all this tension suddenly in the room.
Before.
Yes, in fact, there's still some on this table from last time I was here. I spent some on the couch in the hope that they'd replace the darn couch, but no luck so far.
Maybe we should put it in the fire.
Yeah.
I don't know. Somewhere
along the lines there, you mentioned music tracks, so I'm going to say that's relevant to the next question, which is from 2guys1DDS saying, can you let the LMS music track play in the waiting room? It's difficult to unlock the music track with so few people playing it.
The thing with that is that the LMS track doesn't really fit the waiting room.
I personally wouldn't mind sticking it there, though, just based on the fact that you do need it as a requirement for the music cape. There is an issue that I don't believe there's been a game for a little while at the minute. And having to wait for like a high stakes weekend where there's going to be a lot more activity would be a bit annoying.
I'm glad you said that, because I also said on Twitter recently that I'd be okay with seeing that change, so I'd hate to contradict you on it.
Yeah, given the fact that they can't currently get into games unless it's absolutely at the peak times, it's, speaking of...
Oh, sorry.
Come on.
I was just going to go into about why LMS, what it's been doing since it came out.
Yeah.
So effectively, what we found with LMS, it had a huge spike. I think we were hitting sort of 6,000 to 7,000 games a day when it first came out, and it's dwindled down and less people are playing it. But what we have found is when we do something interesting with it, such as the high stakes weekend, we get a big blip again. So it's turning out that LMS is looking like it's going to be really good for really focused community stuff going on. So when we do something exciting around it, it creates a lot of attraction and a lot of people get excited about it. But during the rest of the time, it probably not quite so exciting for people.
When do we envisage doing the next one of those? Roughly.
Immediately following the Deadman season. So it's a 1 month long season starting last week, right? So give a few weeks and we'll have a new high stakes weekend for Last Man Standing.
Yeah.
We also have potential to make a few minor updates, as in throwing new weapons in, stuff like that. But as for the bigger updates we'd like to see to it, such as duo queue, new maps, that's not going to happen for a fair bit yet. Apparently we just hit 8 million total views on Twitch. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, woohoo!
I mean, we did an LMS tournament at RuneFest, and I think that really proved that format can work. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, it was one of the most highly viewed points of the RuneFest stream, and sat in the audience at the main stage of RuneFest, there were people in the audience oohing and ahhing when a Granite Mall spec went off. And it is exciting, and I think doing it in that format really does work.
And they're not even all old school players. A lot of those people in the audience are RS3 players who haven't seen LMS before necessarily.
As Matt said, it's not so much something that's meant to be maintained as highly active through and throughout every single day. It's more a every so often type of thing.
Yeah.
That's the way it's going to have to work, especially starting with Deadman mode, which is going to take anybody who wants to play PvP is playing Deadman, rightfully so.
Well, we're currently going through plans with senior managers in the business about what we can do with LMS next year and sort of the resourcing it's going to need to have to actually do the stuff we want to. So hopefully we can have some more definite things to talk about in the coming months about what our plans are and some exciting stuff we've got want to do with it. So
yeah,
should be good.
Next question is from Twin Turbo. Says, can you please specify all the warm clothing in the game?
Oh no, I wrote them all down and left the thing upstairs.
You wrote them all down?
I wrote literally all of them down.
Off the top of your head, go.
I can't list them off the top of my head.
I'll tell you what, why don't we say, Ronan, get upstairs, we'll get that list. Sorry, mate.
He's kind of needed for...
What were you using?
Ronan, you don't come on the sofa anymore.
You never did.
Sorry.
Ash, I can't believe you just did that.
Sorry.
Ronan is running. The speed. Can barely keep up. He's gone. He's still at the door.
Should we take a question from the chat while that's going on?
So we recently put in 6-hour protection for new players in Deadman mode. Do you want to explain a bit more in depth how that works?
So, when you leave Tutorial Island in the Deadman season, a 6-hour timer is started on you, and it ticks down to 0 while you're logged in. In that time, you can't be attacked, which means that you've got a bit of leeway once you come off the island to let you get yourself some stats, get yourself some items, and get actually ready to be fought before it starts happening to you. If at any point you decide, no, I want to get into the PvP right now, I don't want to wait no 6 hours, you go to, I think, is it Deadman Nigel? Or is it Deadman?
It is the Doomsayer.
The Doomsayer. And after he said doom to you, he lets you choose to get attacked as soon as you like, and takes away the 6-hour timer.
This has been really nice for new players. I know for a fact, watching some streams, Skill Specs was streaming earlier, he decided to start a new account, and his progress towards the end of his 6 hours was further than some who have been playing since the beginning of it because
beautiful.
he played efficiently
Yeah.
and strategically mapped out what he wanted
Yeah,
to
we
do.
know
for the
we
next
know
6
there's
hours.
an issue with starting later into a season where you're very much out leveled, and this is a way that we can hopefully try and lower that problem.
Yeah.
I saw a player asking on the thread today whether they'd created their account a few hours ago. They would still be in the 6 hours if they had, got the timer started on them. Unfortunately, no. It started when you leave Tutorial Island. It doesn't just turn up on people who created their accounts recently in there.
Right. Moving on then, Runescape says, getting a pet from the Tithe Farming minigame. Now, he claims this absurdly rare rate of it taking 2 billion farming experience on average to get one. 2 billion farming experience to get a pet from that? Is that... If that's right, surely we could...
I think the rate is pretty harsh. But that was because it came out of the formulas that... Because you grow things very, very quickly there.
You do a bit.
And it's more based on time rather than...
Right.
Rather than anything else. But obviously with most farming patches, you plant and leave them and do something else in reading time. So I think we can probably change the tithe rate to be a bit more reasonable, given that you require constant attention there rather than you get up and go mining while you wait for your tree to grow.
Maybe just 1 billion farming experience. That's a joke, it's okay. A Slow Turtle says, can we see a teleport to Trollheim in our player-owned house portals? Currently, if you have to construct all the portal rooms, there is an empty portal space.
We get a lot of comments about portals now that we've added some more. So I think there is plan and scope to be able to add 31, but then we also have the idea that the players came up with last week about the teleport nexus.
Look, you can walk on camera, Ronan, and people do know what you look like.
Justin.
Why? What happens?
You go.
Thank you, Ronan.
Is that where'd you get that shirt from, Ronan?
The one and only notebook has arrived.
The show. Got it for free from both.
Sell out.
Where can you go to buy it?
I have no idea.
It's not RuneScape like Backstreet merch or whatever it is it?
Don't roast our own merch store.
Right, can we go back to the winter to warm clothing question then?
We can. Can we finish this one real quick so I don't forget it? Can we see any teleport to Trollheim in our player and house portals?
So yeah, like I said, we had discussions around what we want to do with it. We have the scope to give lots, and there's also the player idea about having a teleport nexus, which can effectively add eventually like all of the teleports to it, or as much as we can, with the limit of only having one in your house.
See, I like the idea of having it tied in with the My Arm's Big Adventure, whatever the next quest is called. Is that one?
Making friends with my
Making
arm.
my friends with my arm, that's the one, yeah. Having it tied in with that quest.
So there's a suggestion for that one of the rewards could be unlocking a lunar teleport to my arm's patch, rather than just to the top of Trollheim. You'd actually go to where my arm sits, and a group spell to go with it, because hey, that's what Luna does. I'm quite keen on that, and of course that'd be 2 teleports, 2 destinations. POH got space for that, so we can do the Trollheim one now, and if the quest happens to pass next year and that reward comes with it, we'd still be able to do that one.
Cool.
All right.
I can't wait for that quest, I'm excited.
I like the idea.
Right, so Kieran's going to list all of the warm clothing pieces.
I hope someone's ready to write
I'm
this
going to
down.
read these really fast. You better be ready with the Reddit thread page
I'm
open.
going to get my phone ready, so I'll see how long it takes to get up on Reddit.
Matt, spit a beat.
You got, sorry?
We're going to do Rap God.
No.
Maybe.
Right. Gnome scarf, obby cape, fire cape, coloured
This
canister
is a rap.
scarf, full pyro, tome of fire, broomer torch, Easter chicken outfit, including the evil version, bunny outfit, bobble scarf, jester hat, jester scarf, woolly scarf, Fremmy gloves, Santa and anti-Santa outfits, including the Santa hats, ale of the gods, because obviously that makes you feel warm, the volcanic whip, the full crack the clue outfit, excluding the helmet, the fire-making skill capes and the hood, the max fire cape and hood, the fire tiara, all the fire staves, including the battle staves, mystic versions, and any combination staff that includes fire, the bomber jacket and cap, yak hide armor, the bear helmet, all hunter clothing, the infernal axe and pickaxe, and the lit harpy bug lantern. That is the full list.
Cool. I'm now timing you, see how long it takes to get on Reddit with the correct list.
Am I mistaken? Was Fire Cape on that?
Yes.
Okay. Good.
You
'Cause
see what
somebody-
is just appeared on the Reddit list, though?
No way, it's already there.
Oh, God.
I won't repeat on stream.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that on stream. That's quite funny.
Yes, I said the word lit.
Oh dear.
Okay, moving on then. We're on question 8 now. Ludai says, can Slayer tasks done in the wilderness have the chance to drop tier 1 emblems?
I like the sound of that. That sounds good.
Depending
We did it
on
for
the
the
rate,
bosses.
yeah. What kind of rate would we look at?
Quite rare. This would serve, of course, normal players as well as Iron
Something
Men. They wouldn't be tempted.
500,
tippers.
1,000 maybe?
We should see what rate we went and stuck it on, Callisto, Veteran, and Venom Love, and do it. It's something that suits what we did there.
What's the easiest farmable Slayer task out there? Would the rate be different for
do
each
people do any
task,
Slayer
or-
tasks in the wilderness?
Hellhounds, a major arena, because they're right close and you can just 3-item and...
Yeah.
That'd be a fun one for you guys to balance. Enjoy that.
Someone's put a thing on Reddit that just says "Hi Matt" now.
All right, moving on then.
There we go. Right, list of the Wintertodd items. Let's see if they've got them right, shall we?
He just made a thread with no comment.
Yeah, and yeah.
Oh, he made you
That's
click on it,
rubbish.
didn't he? Downvote.
Bowl cut
Was there a
53.
Rick Astley picture there or something?
No, it's rude picture. Bowl cut 53. That's rubbish. Should be ashamed of yourself.
Next question. Copa says, can we have a graveyard at our player-owned house or some sort of gravestone? This would be a new respawn location, so when we die, we could respawn in our player-owned house.
I like that.
How about you can
quite
read
cool.
the gravestone and it tells you how many times you've died and we start tracking it.
Oh, that's
Even
quite
better.
cool.
I'd love to see a player grinding on that to make the number go up.
They just keep killing themselves.
Jesus,
Just
Gabe. So
kill
where is
them up.
this going to prove new best, most efficient anything? Where is it going to be overpowered?
Well, you can get your spec back again fairly quickly. You can then teleport yourself to anywhere the portals go now or in future, or the jewellery box. And that sounds quite useful.
I mean, it's not too different just spawning next to a bank and running in the bank and get a POH teleport out there, is it?
No,
I'm not exactly concerned about it. I think it's a pretty reasonable thing to do,
the
to
only
be honest.
concern I'd have is whether we can do it reliably, given the number of things that try to happen to you on death, and then tying a...
Yeah.
Because the code for getting into your house is not as straightforward as getting
absolutely.
anywhere else. If we could make that be all right, then that'd be cool.
Okay, cool idea. Moving on, Hero Light says, could we possibly have some older legacy models for certain monsters? Example being the 2005 imps, dragons, goblins, etc.
Modreach went and did a bit of a search through the archive and found that a lot of that stuff is indeed available to us. Also lizard men.
I have an unpopular opinion I'm going to say about this one. Right now, the old dragons, yes, they look cool to somebody who was playing back in the
they
day
look
when they were
so
the old,
bad,
old
though, don't
dragons. But to somebody who has just discovered Old School, never even looked at the game before, they're going to look at that and they're going to go, "What the hell is that?" Right?
What the players would probably want is, of course, a toggle, because everyone loves a toggle. And the problem we'd have is that with all those varieties of creatures, having two versions that needing to perform completely different animations, that's not something we can currently do at all, never mind toggle on and off like that. So now, possibly if we got enough game engine work to let different versions of the creature do different versions of the animation, that would become possible, but I cannot see us wanting to spend that much engine time on this cosmetic thing, given all the useful things people would like from the engine team, like a map, or clans, or the rest of that hit marks job that Ian's on.
Mod Ronan looks like he wants to say something.
What do you think about just replacing the updated bar guards with the old ones?
Okay, can do that, I hate that.
Yes.
Should we maybe straw poll it and see what the players
Type
think?
1 in the chat if you would like to change
About
the
the
Varrock
Varrock
guards
guards.
to the
Oh,
old
sorry, about the
style
guards, yeah.
guards.
Yeah, that's actually been on the list of poll ideas for the last 3 years.
Okay.
We've still got the models that can go on this week's poll.
Well, the thing is, they look like any other dude in a bronze helmet and chain. It just never seemed like the most pressing thing to do.
If the community wants it. All right. As for the rest of the creatures, maybe sometime in the distant future, but not immediately, obviously.
Okay, hang on. I think we've got someone who's given a good attempt at this. Do you want to have a look?
You want me to
How close
confirm
is
if this is correct?
Yeah.
There's another
This
rude
guy,
picture.
it's probably been long enough now that they're going to went back and watched it.
That's right. They've been sending me messages through Reddit. They're just creating threads with messages to me now, aren't they?
Should we take the next question while Kieran's doing that?
Wrong.
Yeah.
They missed loads out.
They missed loads out. Who was that? That was I know what you did last summer. Sorry, mate. Try harder.
What did I do last summer?
You
I
were.
wonder if he knows.
Yeah. Like free to play, wasn't it? Bonds last summer. Was that
No,
hard?
we got into resizable by then, and the
Did we?
XP droplets. You were testing my XP droplet thing.
Moving on.
Yeah.
J-Man says, with raids coming, can we see 1K bank spaces?
Can we?
Bank spaces, we're probably better off looking at other ways to save space rather than releasable bank spaces, which we did with the hidey hole stuff.
Yep.
Reusing the house a bit more for bits and bobs. People.
The vast majority of new items created for the raiding project won't be coming out no dungeons. Or if they do, they're not bankable, or don't do anything, or you shouldn't have them, so get rid of them. There will be a few new items, though. I get that why you'd want more bank space, but what Matt said.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we here?
Another one.
All the way down
We could
to
sell bank space.
Ganon's Castle.
They couldn't.
It says, can bosses / high-level monsters display their health, as in 345 out of 350, in the examine option?
It's very lacking.
This could help Iron Men know if they will get the loot before killing the monster.
Sadly, the engine at this date does not allow for dynamic changing to the descriptions of scenery and monsters like that. That came to RS3 probably about 2011 or so. Again, we could get the engine team to drop whatever else they're doing and do that for us, but I wouldn't choose to do that compared to all the other things they could be doing.
Or use the monster examine.
That's not really quite as convenient, but it does exist for that purpose, yeah. We might do better with some other way of displaying the information that isn't in the exam. After all, we can get the information, we just can't put it exactly where that player said.
All right. Let's grab one from the chat then. Kramer says, is there a hill giant pet?
No.
That would have been the first free-to-play pet.
It would have been. I don't know if you got,
It is on your event roll though, so it is the first thing that we're tracking kill count for free-to-play players, but obviously they can't then use the Ring of Wealth or go into their house to view it.
But at least we got the data.
Praise the data warehouse.
We could stick in the Champions Guild somewhere, maybe. I mean, a notice board for them to read.
All right. Hazel Matt Weedy says, can you make it so we can store the runes for god spells inside of the god staffs? This will make Godspell PK more viable and be a nice quality of life improvement.
I had a look into that one before the stream. The difficulty is that there's different runes you can use for some of those spells. Like where it needs air runes and fire runes, then we've got to take into account that you might have brought air runes and fire runes, you might have brought smoke runes, you might have brought all of the above in some weird combination. And it's going to get a little bit awkward for the staff to remember what it's got up it, especially having put it in there. You'll probably want to take it out again. If the rule, on the other hand, were that you can only put the runes in to charge the staff, and there is no way at all of decharging the staff, then we could start letting you, save up the charges in there. If that would be all right, then we could go there.
I would like that, personally, as a PK. My question is, what happens to the runes on death?
Once they're in there, since the staff would not be able to remember exactly what kind of runes got put in, like, take what we did with the Trident. It eats fire runes, and people said, can you make it use lava runes? And the thing is, if it had let you put in fires or lavas, but it wasn't able to remember which you'd put in, or if you'd put in 5,001 and 2,000 another, and it couldn't remember, then it would have to give them back in some form or another, and you'd probably end up with a machine that turns lava runes into fire runes on demand for free, which is not something I feel the game needs from us. So we wouldn't really want to go and do that with this staff either. So if it was just in and never out again, including on PvP death, then we can do it quite easily, otherwise not so much.
Okay.
A player, Kakani, I think, said that giving the blood runes back would be fine and the rest doesn't matter. We can run with that.
Yeah, that seems to make sense, doesn't it?
It absorbs the elemental runes, so it can't give you them back.
Ooh, lore.
Made up on the spot.
I mean, we had a long
You
council
feed,
meeting
you
at
feed
lunch,
the
didn't we?
gods.
Yes.
With But, yeah, you feed the gods with bloods and smoke, and all you get back is blood. That sounds quite cool.
All right. Free Gem says, can Hellhounds drop the dog heads from the Archaea spellbook? Hellhounds only drop bones, hard clues, and smoldering stones.
I don't see why not.
Makes sense.
Frankly.
Dog.
I don't think they're going to be killing dog slayers, though, can they?
No, they're hellhound, I think, rather than dog. For dogs, you normally want to go down Karamja and finally find use of those wild dogs, or go to Ardoin and kill Candlewatt's guard dogs.
They're a nightmare to kill. I mean, you kill them in the McGrubber's woods and there's like massive amount of trees between you.
Yeah.
In the Brimhaven dungeon, you have the opposite problem to normal.
I never went in those woods ever since Classic.
Yeah.
I don't miss it.
Lots of yeses in the chat for that one. Rizuki Maru says, why did you nerf the Winter Todd? I'm going to repeat that. Why did you nerf the Winter Todd?
Should I take this one? So it's been out quite a few weeks now, and we've been monitoring the effect on the different prices of the various items that the Winter Todd does drop, and the number of players playing the content as well, and it's not really been in line with where we wanted it to be. I mean, there's a few problems in that the Winter Todd isn't killed like a normal boss. There's every single person that's contributed gets the drop. It's not like a boss where one person gets the drop. It's also low requirements. So just 55 making to get in, and not really anything else. There's no restriction on having to have a high combat level to be able to do it. So we had a think about it, and we felt it really did need to be looked at, and we decided to go down the route of we can still have good rewards, but we're going to lock those behind higher skills. So you're going to start getting herbs that are more appropriate for your level now. If you're 99 herb low, you'll start to get more of the higher level herbs like toastals. But at a lower level, you're going to get more like guams. And the same for like farming and seeds, the same for mining and ores and so on. And I think for the most part, it really works quite well. I think it's went down pretty well. It seems to be pretty popular.
All right. Not this guy. Pankito says, I managed to get 2 Bruma torches. This is kind of useless. Can we have the ability to trade one away for a crate?
We had this question come up on the forums after the update, and Modmaz responded to it to say that we're looking into ways of doing something with them. We don't necessarily know what they are, but we are looking into it.
Juggle.
Oh, yeah. Dual wielding torches.
Throwing torches, a new ranged weapon.
Well, as I mentioned, it does count as a warm item.
You can go around places with thatched roofs and set fire to the roofs.
You still only need one.
New skill. New
Job
skill.
done.
You still only need one for that.
So about that fire.
Well, no, you should chuck it in, don't you? You have to chuck it in.
Okay.
Yeah. You chuck it in, set fire to the roof, get a lump of fire XP.
Sorted.
Fire making XP, yeah. Job done. Problem solved. Move on, Chris.
One in the chat for you, Matt, from Chef Buttfat says, how did you like the gift basket?
Only problem with the gift basket was that we had so much cheese today, we haven't started on it yet.
The thing is, most of the stuff in there looks like it's for going with cheese.
Yeah, so it's got cheese in it as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that another
That's
day
your
of cheese?
reaction. Thank you very much.
We had cheese yesterday and cheese today too. Which is funny because
And
we
you'll
have
have
cheese
cheese tomorrow,
Tuesdays,
yeah.
and it's not been Tuesday when we've had cheese.
Oh well.
I'd
Will
like
live.
to jump to the other image that is not associated with a question for today, if possible. The secret. It's not really a secret. It's on Twitter.
What's this?
Can you find it? The skin colors. All right. We'll answer another question until we get back to that then. OSRS Skiller says, let the Hill Giant boss drop an extremely rare membership bond. We already covered that.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the chance of dropping Champion Scroll?
It already does.
Ooh.
It does have a chance. So someone asked me this earlier, and I went through and spoke to Jed and confirmed it. I won't say the rate, but it's basically the same as everything else.
You just said the rate.
Well, pretty much. So yeah, 1 in 5k, and you'll get the Champion Scroll. I was up for improving it, but just for consistency, we left it at 5k. It does now, however, have the guaranteed chance of an end-sold giant head if you kill it on members.
Cool. Sorted? Yeah? Let's throw that up then. Boom. Right, so this one, when I was away last week, I think Mod Tom H tweeted it out.
Spray tan.
So we recently have discovered we have the option to add in a new skin color, if you please. So here are some of the options.
It's got to be Phasmatis, isn't it? I'm sorry, but
Phasmatis was one they wanted a couple of years, a year or so back, that we didn't do that time, but said we could do in future. I would be glad to do it.
yes, indeed.
Purple, on the other hand, is very iconic for Old School at this time.
That's true.
See, personally, I thought they would have gone for the Red Slayer Master guy. I don't know. his name.
That just looks like someone's just got a sunburn.
Orange.
I mean, if these are Halloween rewards, I think the spray tan one's the most terrifying. Imagine meeting someone from Essex.
It puts me in mind of who's that
say
guy?
that.
That guy, the orange one.
I just
Fire
did.
Warrior
Donald
is
Trump?
Arcus, I think. No, Fire Warrior is Arcus, but
To tie in with that,
I really can't say that.
a question we had last week was asking about a gold skin as a pay 100 mil for a gold skin to act as something like a gold sinking game. I got Mod Ghost to quickly mock that up for me as well, just to have a look at, and it doesn't really look that good. You look somewhere close to a Simpsons character, but not quite that yellow. So if we wanted a gold skin, we'd effectively have to make it a bright yellow as opposed to the gilded yellow.
Oh dear.
Sorry, I should have mentioned, we'd be able to throw up a straw poll for those colors. So those are your options there. Maybe we should throw in an option for pick a different color, but I think those are the ones based off of feedback people like the most. So we'll get that in the chat for you guys momentarily, and we'll jump back to it after a question or two. Gerp says, can we get the new rates at Wintertodd? For example, level 99 chance of getting something versus level 50.
We have nice spreadsheets for all of the different types of resource you can get. I'm sure we'll show them at some point. But the rates are fairly involved, so
Right.
We could probably
I don't know them off the top of my head anyway.
Probably give them to Ronan next time he does a Wintertodd community stream or something.
Yeah,
That'd be the perfect place to put it.
I think so.
Okay. All right, jumping into a Deadman suggestion here from Alfie Rules saying, thoughts on free-to-play Deadman worlds to run alongside the next season without access to the tournament, of course. It would give them a trial run and a look at how much fun Deadman can be.
How
we
would
have
you...
to adapt some elite code for when officers start you off in the Gnome Stronghold, but I don't see a problem with us trying that.
My main thought when I read this question was, obviously, people that are in the members version have access to places where they can get skills faster, and then so you'd effectively want to have to lock people into whether they come first through the members or the free to play.
So if you are a member, you may not, use the free to play one. So to get into the free to play one, you'd have to actually unsubscribe.
Well, no, more of a case of the first one that you happen to log into on that account, you get locked into. So that way, if you have two membership accounts, you could have one in free to play, one in members, but they couldn't interact with each other.
Interesting. Although if a player unsubscribed through, well, involuntarily and was not able to resubscribe, they'd effectively be barred from the game, I think.
In terms of Deadman, possibly until they either put their membership back, but then at the moment the season is only a month, so...
Well, people, free-to-play star PKing is a thing.
Provided we could make it work, all possible problems out of the way, what do you think about the basic concept of it?
I don't see a harm in trying it.
I have worries from a commercial point of view.
I was going to say worries outside of work, or
Yeah, I have worries.
Me too.
Yeah, from a commercial point of view, I'd need to talk to the analytics team to see what they think might happen.
We need some data.
Yeah, we need some data.
Yeah,
It's a good thing to
I
do.
do wonder what the gameplay would be like when you're limited, very limited in what you can PK with. I mean, free-to-play PKing is a thing, but in the context of Deadman, when you haven't got so many of the high-level spells to be able to freeze people with or teleblock, you are losing some of the key elements of stopping someone escaping.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try to grab those results back from that straw poll, if we can. There we are. So Phasmatis is, in fact, winning. Did I say that right? I think
Yeah.
I did. Cool. That's at 36%. Zombie Blue is 29%. Putrid Purple 26%. And Spray Tan Orange all the way down to 10%.
I love how the colours of the bar chart are nothing to do.
The blue one's blue.
I always thought it was going to be
I looked at the start with and thought the orange was winning. It's like, oh.
I remember how Ronan said Phasmatus. It wasn't correct.
Well, that's been that's been a suggestion for a very long time now. So some people are probably very happy to see that as a possibility. I imagine we would probably try to get that into a poll in the near future.
I believe there's a poll due tomorrow, though. Whether that's meant to be part of it, I do not know. There's
Certainly can be
nodding
part
and
of it.
shaking and stuff.
And
going on in
confusion.
there.
I think we'd have to discuss that with what Mod Tom H decided to do, because obviously he's the one that's
Yes.
in charge of the Halloween event.
And he was looking at zombie colours for flesh tone research in preparation for this question.
He's even been making assets, which is exciting. Someone
right.
making something cool yesterday.
Let's jump through a couple of these questions real quick. We've got some suggestions, a bunch of Dead Man stuff, and then the interview. So, Thanks says, can we see a completionist cape added in 2017? We're nearing 1,000 total maxed players.
I would like to at some point.
2017 is...
I'm out finding enough time in our schedule to be able to get a cape made, a big tasty emote for it as well. And then we really need to consider, what is this cape going to do? I mean, with Max Cape, we limited it to only be in line with what else is in game. Personally, I feel we should do the same with Comp, that you'd be able to probably combine it with Fire Cape and the other stuff in the same essence, which is annoying for us to implement, but I think it works in a way that suits it. But I don't want to make this Comp Cape best in slot. I don't want to encourage people to go and get it because they feel that it provides them with something everyone else can't get. I want it to just be an item that looks cool, that you can show off, but essentially acts as a few other items that you might want to wear instead.
The emote is the big, it's going to set it back.
What about how many Castle Wars games they're going to have to complete?
We're not. that's for the trim cape, which
Perhaps a discussion.
we don't have a veteran Castle Wars cape, so we don't have that issue. But I would like our comp cape. I mean, if you do know about the RuneScape 3 comp cape, I would like our comp cape to be a little less lenient. I would like to include some of the harsher trim recs that were involved with the actual comp cape and make it a more challenging thing to obtain.
Have to collect all the pets.
Oh no.
Have to achieve rank 100 or less.
Yeah.
LMS.
A player sent me a list of ideas of what he'd like to see on it, and one of the interesting things is you've got a whole load of items where you have to make the set or by gathering things, like crab kit, the crab claw from the Recipe for Disaster quest. Having had one of those was on it just to make you have gone and played that blinking content to get the thing that you had to throw away again, but you had to have done it. It was quite a shopping list.
Was this Hutchins?
I cannot for the life of me remember. I just remember reading it. People send me a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think he speaks to me quite a lot about that. Constantly saying, "Oh, I like the comp cape. What do you think of these recs? Do you think about adding this and stuff?" So
it may have been his list sent to me by another player, indeed.
Let's get through these suggestions then. I'd like to gather your opinions on these. These are the popular suggestions from the past week. This first one is from Acid Bubble. He says, the new version looks like Armadyl colors. I think it should match the blue of Ceremon robes. So he's referring to the Sarah book, as you can see here.
He used Comic Sans, so all of a sudden I don't agree with his suggestion.
come back with a new image.
Come back with different font.
I think the answer is
Is that it? We're done?
sure. At the time, the aim was not to change the old item as more than was strictly necessary to make it look distinct from the other white book. But if you want a different shade of blue, we can do a different shade of blue. We can go for Kieran's pants shade, whatever.
Oh my top.
Or
your
trousers.
shirt.
I've been trying to talk more American lately.
Well,
Have you? I tried wearing an American hat.
I saw,
Yes.
everyone saw.
Yes, it was very cool.
Next.
no, I saw one no out of all of that from the chat.
Okay, that's good. Next suggestion. Forexol says, combine Zulrah mutagens with Slayer helmets for 1,500 points. There you go.
That's pretty, aren't they?
Whenever a suggestion has an image, it does infinitely better.
We're ending up very quickly with like 1,000 Slayer helm variants.
How many does RS3 have, do you know? Because it was in the hundreds.
It is a very large number, which...
You can change their models dynamically.
Yeah. Well,
an interesting use
we
of
don't
red
have
mix
too
shade.
many versions at this time. As long as you couldn't try and do it alongside the other recolours it's got.
I would love to see a straw poll for that one.
Well, when it comes to cosmetic overall choices, the players have no incentive whatsoever to consider that they wouldn't want it. They just have to accept that the dev time we spend doing it is not spent on something else. But there's no drawback to it, it's just a cosmetic thingy.
I think the question is more or less, how do you feel about so many different cosmetic changes and, you know, stuff like that?
There's certainly a desire for some things. I think, you know, we could go nuts and have a different version of absolutely everything in game if we really wanted to. But I think there is a desire for some iconic items to look different, have them in different colours, or I don't know, put wings on them or whatever.
We did the God Sword hilts not long ago.
But so, you know, there is desire
Matt,
for
you
some.
mentioned the W word.
What?
You mentioned the W word.
What, wings?
Yeah.
Is that a bad word?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. But yeah, so there is a desire for some items, some iconic items, I think, but equally there's going to be a desire for some items not to, and I think on a case-by-case basis the community will tell us whether they want it or not. And why is that a wrong word?
People don't like wings.
Don't they? They did some great music. They did
There's
Live and Let Die.
only two places for wings. The top of your knee is not helm, and on boots.
Let's go to the next suggestion.
Yeah,
In terms of cosmetics, I think we are pretty much... I think we're sort of doing it right. I mean, you've got these items that people wear a lot, like the Slayer helm, your graceful set, Max Cape, that do fit having a few different colours, because otherwise everyone would look the same.
All right. Where are we here? Short Dude has a suggestion, pet options. This has been asked many times before, but he has an image this time, so it does well.
And the answer is still that if the engine team can give us the flexibility to do that, then we can do it. At the moment, I'm afraid they are working on other things that players are asked for.
Fair. Last suggestion here from Alexandrars says, superior portal chamber. Says, the frustrating thing about portal chambers is that they're dead-end rooms, which makes it difficult to create an efficient layout. So he wants to move the portals to the corners to allow doors.
To be honest, we could just do that to the existing one if people were okay with it affecting existing houses.
That would mean you could get 4 portals per room as well. Can we do that?
No.
Oh, that was disappointing.
Unfortunately, a portal, bizarrely, takes 2 hotspots. It's the only thing I can think of in POH that does it. But the way it was implemented all that time ago, it's got 1 hotspot slot remembering the material of the portal, and the other hotspot slot remembering the destination of the portal, and thus you have the opportunity to have a mahogany thing going to Kurend, or a marble thing going to the fishing guild, because that really helps. If there's only 1 material, then we could have just used 1 hotspot per portal, and we'd be home and dry, and we could have 7 of the darn things. Unfortunately, that's not how it was, and having got it like this, it'd be rather hard to get it off again.
So,
Introducing a new room type would give us the opportunity to make portals where there's only 1 material available. But if we were going to make a new room type, I'd just assume develop the Nexus thing they designed instead, and have done with it, because having 1 location that teleports to all these places would probably be more convenient for them even than the ability to have doors in the 5 portal rooms they've been trying to build.
I would like a next thing that's 90 plus construction, personally.
well, you have
Doesn't
to
take away too much from standard portal.
You have to remember that with a lot of construction items, you can get a +8 boost as well. So I'd say high 90s, because then people are forced to go into the low 90s to have to get it.
Certainly. I mean, at some point, I'd really like to do an expansion which adds redwood planks.
Or if it was a farming thing that you put in your house, then it wouldn't use the saw boost.
So you could have a nature nexus.
Yeah, so a kind of natural nexus.
Well,
whatever that means.
Something like the nature spirit room.
Yeah.
Okay. We're coming about to the time where we have to start talking about dead men, I think. So I'd like to quickly, as quick as I can, run past some of our notes from our meeting yesterday talking about dead man, which resulted in a couple of the changes today, such as the 6-hour...
I like the comment in the YouTube chat.
Removing the trade restriction, etc. So let's get through that, actually.
So, changes to the next season. Week 1, we'd like to restrict Ancients. Week 2, restrict Barrows, meaning they wouldn't be accessible for that week and in the second week. As well as faster experience rates to regain levels that have been lost on death. I like that one.
Yeah.
Changes to the next tournament. Track and display total kill count for each player. Display highest kill count overall, but without giving away the name of the player. In the instance that of multiple players dying at the same time, the player with the most kills would be the winner. Also, the casters would have the ability to view whichever player has the highest kill count. Harsh fog reinstated, being faster, but it would not be in the final area. So players in the final area will be given 20 minutes to fight before the fog is reintroduced to the final area, eventually wiping them out, but we would hope there'd be a solid death match before then. No fog being in the final area is something that we've gathered from the community. I think they'll be a fan of that one.
The important thing is that since players in the final area wouldn't have any fog going on, but they'd know that if they all just stood there and waited for the fog to resume, the person with the highest kill count would be the winner, and they'd know if it was them or not. They'd know they've got an incentive to find out who it is and kill them. So hopefully they will actually do some fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these changes are to encourage you guys to fight. We want it. It's PvP, and we want people to fight each other at the end. And for one, that's makes for a more entertaining viewing as well.
What we don't want is a situation like the first tournament where everyone gathered in the final area and waited and waited and waited, and they all died of fog.
Yeah. So, in addition to that, we would be adding a timer counting down until the final area can no longer be accessible. So if you don't make it there by the time that timer is over, you're forced to sit outside this invisible barrier and die to the fog, while everybody else is inside and still has a chance at winning. So you will have to be in the final area to win. We'd also be removing skulls in the final area just to make things a little bit easier to see.
Yeah, because if everyone's got one, it's not really helping anything, and the skull mechanic doesn't really matter when death is permanent anyway.
Yeah. Just a little bit to add with the kill count timer. I don't know if many people saw what Mod Jed tweeted with the players that did the most kills, but in the Deadman tournament, we did actually have someone at the end that had 41 kills in the final hour, which I believe may have been Marazor, or Marisor, however you pronounce it.
Marazor. Yeah. And he was in Rot. Speaking of Rot, we have an interview coming up in a minute. We're going to say our farewells now. So we're going to leave you guys with this interview I had earlier with the winner of the Deadman tournament, as well as the representative of his clan, the leader, Bullerick. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you next week. Welcome, everybody. We are joined with the winner of the previous Deadman tournament, Bogart, as well as the leader of his clan, Rot, Bullerick. Is that right?
Yeah. What's up, man?
Awesome. Cool. All right. So quick couple questions for you guys. Firstly, to Bogart. Can you take us through your strategy for the final hour? How did you win it?
Well, we just wanted to all stay together, and then, just Bull was like leading us through it.
Well, yeah, it's probably best that I answer this because, I was on top of this whole thing. Well, the first few days we obviously trained up. We focused on training up. Getting all the items, all the food, and everything we needed to. We had raw scientists, we had raw geologists, economists, engineers. We had everything. We had mathematicians as well. We had everything in place. We figured out everything. What was the best food? What was the most efficient gear that we could buy? The fastest thing. Next thing, once we had all this information, we were able to get spies and clans. What we did with that, is whenever clans said would go PK, try to take over some area, we would go hit them and clear them out completely. We cleared out a bunch of clans like this. We completely weakened them before the final. So we did this. We took over the mall. We took over so many other places. And eventually, it got to the final hour, where we were just way too strong. We had way too many people for them, and that was it, really. That was just like our strategy. It's pretty simple.
Right. That's very clever. Looking at the final hour, there were some really massive opposing teams that were going against you guys. They looked like they might have had more numbers. Was that maybe two clans joined together to take you out, or how'd that go?
Oh yeah, that's something normal that Riot goes through. It's even on Old School Runescape. It's just clans teaming up against us, and that's fine. We know they have to team up against us, but I think that we saw AC and like Lit teaming up. And they had a lot more people. But the thing is, though, like our experience, we understand this game at a whole different level than other people. We know when to be at a location, when not to be. And that's what we did at the final hour. We were always moving around.
Right.
We saw a clan, we would barrage them out. Move out quickly before you guys caught up on stream. And we were just pretty much just hitting people left and right and moving out.
Oh, that's clever. So you guys are watching the stream to find out where
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
is and all that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cool. All right.
yeah.
So when you found out the final area was the Greater Demons, how did you approach that? Did you want to be the first ones there, or were you one of the last people to move there?
Oh well, when we found out GD's was the final area, man, that was just like, this is home. Everybody on TeamSpeak was just like, man, we're going home. We're winning this because GD's is actually my home. My birth certificate actually says GD's. It doesn't say anything else. So I was born there. So I'm comfortable in that area. I know that area 100%. So people were pumped up to, be at GD's. And as soon as we figured that out, we were like, okay, well, GD's, we're going to win this 100%. And also another thing that happened was in the first minute, right, maybe before you guys started your stream, we had cleared AC completely.
Right. Was that
Right.
by Barbarian?
Yes, that was like a minute. Yes, that's like a minute right before you guys started your stream. We completely cleared them out. And after that, we were just like, you know what? This is our game. This is our tournament. We win this no matter what.
No, you played well. And to Bogart especially, I kind of want to gather your thoughts for the last kind of 5 minutes. I can appreciate it's probably a pretty nerve-wracking experience knowing that you're in the ranks to potentially win this when you're in the top 10. When you were in the top 10, how much food did you have? Did you know you were going to win it, or what was that like?
Well, I mean, I was just trying to remain calm.
Yep.
I've been in like competitions where you have to remain calm, and I just like looked around for pea pots, like any food, like even like cake, anything, and then I was trying to do damage to as many people as I can while I was looting supplies, and just doing the best I can to win.
Cool. All right. I mean, you were probably the only one, I think, in the last kind of whole minute running around actually killing people. It just kind of looked like everybody else was kind of sitting there trying to stay alive as long as they could. But
they
you
were probably
actively...
panicking. I was trying to not panic.
Yeah. All right. Well, it paid off, obviously. So speaking of the payoff, the obvious question here, what's the plan for the money, guys?
Well, I'm most likely going to end up keeping all of it just because I'm the leader, so, I got to keep the money. So, I don't know what I'm going to buy. I'm probably going to end up putting a nice down payment to a car, maybe a house, I don't know. Nah, I'm kidding, man. You know what? We were actually thinking of, maybe, we have a few ideas. I've been saying it on stream as well. We might either donate it to a few places, or we might have some fun with it, or maybe just find a way to give back to the community. Like we just want to have fun with it, man. Nobody's actually like thinking about keeping this money or anything like that.
Oh, that's good to hear. I mean, you can do a lot. You can have a lot of fun with 10 grand, I think.
Oh yeah.
So this was the third tournament now. What were the first two tournaments like? Did you guys expect to win those?
Well, the first tournament, we got disqualified the first tournament completely for.
That's right.
It was for account sharing or whatever, but we had no clue about that. That's fine. I think we ended up having like something like 20 people left, but it wasn't enough people to win. Second tournament, that was just not mandatory for us. We didn't take it as serious. It was just more like, okay, well, whoever wants to come play, Deadman, come play it with us. And I think we ended up having like 40 people or something like that. I don't know. And we just didn't take it as serious, and we actually got to second place. We almost won that, really close. And then what happened was we realized, okay, well, if we're actually like non-manned in this, and we're getting that close, then we should just do next season, make a whole man, make sure everybody plays, and we should be able to win this. And that's exactly what happened.
All right. Well, you're taking it seriously now. Is it safe to say you're going to be taking the next season just as seriously?
I think so, man. I think we will.
Ooh. All right. That's exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to the next season. Okay. That's going to be all my questions for today. So thank you very much, guys.
Yep, no problem, man.
Yeah,
Take
no
care,
problem,
bro.
man.
Well, take care. See ya.
The winner of the $10,000 is
Hey, we can take.
Yeah.
All right, hey guys.
We just.
Hey, by the way,